Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Lil Double O. Now, Lil Double O is a rapper from Memphis who is signed to none other than Future. He's signed to Freebandz, and he's been out here doing his thing, man. He's been patiently waiting for his chance to blow up in the game, and it seems like he might have ran into a little hiccup because there's been a lot of reports this week saying that Lil Double O then got locked up, man. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, man, this is a continuous cycle like no other. Soon as a rapper starts getting hot, seems like something tragic happens. We've had rappers lose their life, and we've had rappers who've gotten to that level where they got signed by a major label and then they get arrested, man. It seems counterproductive, but Lil Double O, it seems like it wasn't a situation he can avoid. And it also seems like a situation that had been lingering in the background for a while. Now, you know when it comes to rappers who rep the streets, who proclaim that they're from the streets, they live a different lifestyle than most other rappers. They have to toe the line to where it seems like they're closely connected to the streets, and sometimes that gets them in trouble, gets them caught up, and sometimes gets them arrested. Worst case scenario, it sees them lose their life. But hopefully, some rappers will take these as cautionary tales on what not to do in the rap game and how to protect the bag instead of having to fight a case and spin the bag the wrong way. You know what I mean? Now, before we get to the specifics of what exactly Lil Double O is facing, because it's a lot of years, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, so let's look at this post right here. It says Lil Double O is facing 15 years to life in prison. And here's his mugshot right here. Now, Lil Double O has been doing the rounds, doing some big interviews out there, really getting his name out there. Plus, he's got a cosign from one of the most successful rappers in recent history, Future. Now, Future blessing your tracks and blessing your mixtapes and working with you continuously is only going to see you rise to the top. We see a lot of people associated with Future, the Drakes, the guys like that, the Lil Durks, those guys at the top of the game, go on and do their own thing. But when you've got situations like Lil Double O has ran into where he ended up getting arrested, it's only going to hinder that success. Now, it's also being reported that he's looking at 15 years to life in prison. So talk about a rap career in the balance, we'll see. But he might have made the right move because Lil Double O reportedly turned himself in. So let's look at his charges. Now, this is some paperwork that was put on social media. So take this with a grain of salt. Even though it might look as accurate as possible, this is what's being rumored that Lil Double O is facing. Now, you see the state of Florida versus Tyreek Rogers. Now, I was thrown off because Lil Double O is from Memphis. So I'm guessing he caught this case last year back in, he caught this case last year in the state of Florida, in Broward County. Now, that's the Miami greater area, so maybe he was out there doing things. The way rap goes these days, right? These rappers are always moving around. They're from one big city to the next, and it's like a continuous cycle. Like, they stay on the road moving. They're hardly ever home, and that's a good thing for most people because that way any ops or anybody that they have back in their hometown, it'll be harder to run into them. But if you're engaging in any type of illegal activity, that can see you having cases in separate different states, or several different states, I should say. And it seems like that's the situation here with Lil Double O, where he's got a case now in Florida. So it says on the top, in the Circuit Court of the 7th Judicial Circuit in Broward County, Florida, and you got your case number and all that information, race, all that identifying information, right? Age. And then we get to the important part, right? The counts that are being held against him, which looks like 4, and the charges. So it looks like this. The first charge is armed trafficking of pills, basically, right? Of a substance that I'm assuming was in pill form. The second charge is presented as armed trafficking, and that's in conjunction to the first charge. So looks like he's facing 2 separate charges for that, right? Then on the second count, you see that it's another drug count. So it looks like he was found with some drugs. All this seems like, well, the majority of this seems like it's related to drugs. Then you've got another charge of drugs also, and a different count. Then you have a no valid DI. So it looks like he didn't have his ID on him, or he couldn't provide any identification to verify somebody or something that was with him, right? And in this case, I'm assuming it was a firearm, because if you look at the other charge, it looks like no valid DI for that charge as well. And then it says CCF and carrying concealed firearm. So in all, it looks like Lil Double O caught the, what do you call it? The grand slam of all charges, man, where they find you with either money, drugs, and a weapon, or either drugs and a weapon. And in his case, it looks like he was found with drugs and a weapon. So he got hit with a carrying concealed firearm charge, along with not having valid ID to show that either he was who he said he was, or valid ID to show that he could carry his gun concealed. And he was hit with numerous drug charges. Now it's being rumored that he's looking at up to 15 years in jail, man, which is crazy because Lil Double O ain't been in the rap game that long. And he hasn't gained a fan base strong enough to last 15 years in jail. I don't think anybody has a fan base that'll wait for him for 15 years. I mean, just given the span of life, people will forget who you were in 15 years. I think the longest run we ever had was Gucci, man. And he still had trouble when he came back, but when he hit the ground running because of the things that he established in the fan base that he established prior to him going. Like, he had full-blown fanatics for his music and his content and his mixtapes over years of hard work. Lil Double O doesn't have that. So when you don't have that, when you don't even have like even the Pooh Shiesty, let's say like Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty was able to have #1 album, #1 mixtape, drop a follow-up, some huge singles, #1 singles, platinum records. When he comes out of jail, or prison, I should say, in Pooh Shiesty's case, in federal prison, when Pooh Shiesty comes out of federal prison, it's going to be a different look. He has the opportunity to win back those fans who might have went on and moved on to a new artist, or moved on to a new type of music, or even different, types of sounds, that because the sounds change within music. He'll have an opportunity to battle back and do that. Where Lil Double O, he's getting short-stopped. He's getting stopped before he was able to even get up to that level to where people recognize him on a name basis. So, man, this is going to be tough. And it looks like he had already seen the writing on the wall. Lil Double O said, forget this, man. I'm facing all these charges in Florida. I need to go ahead, turn myself in and fight this head up. So let's see what he did, man. He put out this post allegedly on social media where he says this. He says, turning myself in Monday. Let's make this week epic, with a shrug emoji. Now, I'm not sure if he was able to bond himself out, but it looks like he was turning himself in so that way he can face these charges and go ahead and start the process to get this done and over with as soon as possible. And when you're an artist that's signed to a major label artist like Future, it's only a matter of time, or just a little bit of hard work and consistent good music, to where that cosign is going to pay off for you, and you could really get your foot in the game and become a bigger star. And hopefully he works with his lawyers to get this thing sorted out. But man, we've seen this happen a lot. And I don't know his criminal history, but based on some of his past interviews and things like that, it seems like he's had little casual run-ins with the law, but I don't think he's named anything big specifically. Y'all tell me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But hopefully he doesn't have a long, lengthy criminal history, and maybe he can get out of this with a slap on the wrist, or maybe some light jail time, or a lower sentence than what's being projected. Because I can't think of anybody who could make it in the rap game after being in jail for 15, 16 years consecutively. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't happened. It's hard to happen because life goes on, man. Life goes on when you're gone, and when you're locked up, life goes on for real. And when people know that you're going to be gone for 15, 20 years or something like that, they just turn the page and things move on. Think about with the whole, with other people that you've seen recently who've gotten arrested, charged, and they're looking at 10, 15, 20 years or something like that, man. You know what I mean? Like, people moved on quickly, and it'll be the same for Lil Double O unless he can fight for a shorter sentence. Now, in this next post, I think it's just his mugshot, just to show you that he turned himself in or whatnot. But other than that, man, Lil Double O seems like he's got a fight on his hands. But y'all tell me what y'all think. I mean, let's be real. Let's have a serious conversation here. When it comes to rappers these days, it seems like, man, it's one thing or another, especially if they push out that street persona. If they want to be a gangster rapper, I always say that is the hardest route in rap. Number one, you can't take no L's. No, you can't take any L's. If you're the baddest gangster with the most money and the most women and all this stuff, you gotta live that in front of people so they can buy into that fantasy. You know what I mean? But when you're more artistic and you focus more on your art, it's a tough road too, because you really got to be at the top of your craft to win people over. Whereas the glitz and the glamour is more appealing to the eye, it's harder to maintain, and some people try to do so by doing illegal means. Now, in no way am I saying that Lil Double O was out here doing dirt, but y'all tell me what y'all think, man. What do y'all think about Lil Double O? And what do y'all think about having a cosign as big as Future and getting caught up in these charges in separate states? Now, we don't know the specifics about who was in the car with him or who was with him when he was pulled over or who was with him when he was arrested. It might not even be on his head what really happened here, but being in that predicament, should rappers be more careful? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.